Hello, my name is Chloe Folan, and I just thought I would create a short video today, just briefly explaining my upcoming Rainbow Bridge Phase 2 workshop classes. As always, one of the main impulses for creating this video is just some overlapping emails with similar questions, and also just sharing a little bit about the classes as well. But I would like to begin with more of the technical queries that I've received. So with the upcoming Rainbow Bridge Phase 2 workshop classes that I have coming up, if for some reason the times I'm offering those classes, Irish time, because I'm located in Ireland, isn't suiting your time zone, it's absolutely fine if you can't be online for the actual real-time classes. If you sign up properly and register and payment is made, you will receive those recordings as a correspondence class, meaning my Rainbow Bridge Phase 2 workshops are going to be broken up over 2 3-hour online classes. The first class is coming up soon in August. The second class then will be in September. And the purpose behind that is to give you a chance to, first of all, digest the first Phase 2 teachings and the first Phase 2 technique and practice with that for a month. And then in September, you'll be taught the second Rainbow Bridge Phase 2 technique, as well as other interesting insights as well, to then continue on with the techniques. And both classes will be recorded and sent on to class participants. So as part of the class fee, you receive a fully illustrated manual that outlines not just the techniques, the 2 Phase 2 techniques, but also other techniques that I teach as part of the Phase 2 workshop development work. You'll also receive another student instruction manual that accompanies your main student manual, and the 2 class recordings as well. So that gives you a really good Phase 2 course package to continue to work with once the 2 classes are concluded. And of course, you'll continue to be supported by joining the monthly Antakarana group meditations, though those are the support meditations for both Rainbow Bridge students and Ray Path Healing students. So just to be clear, if it isn't working out for your time zone, it's fine. You may still sign up and register. You'll still receive all of the course notes and materials. And after each of the 2 classes, you'll receive the recording of those classes to then work through at your own pace. And especially in the last year, people have been finding that extremely handy, meaning if you are in a very different time zone to me, you're not having to get up very early for the class or very late. You can then do the classes at your own leisure. And of course, if you've got questions in between, you may email me as part of continued student support. So on that note as well, another technical query I've been receiving is I've had people who've studied Phase 2 a very long time ago with me, but are feeling a calling just to refresh their techniques, or maybe it was an in-person workshop that was attended, because my in-person workshops are never recorded. So if you have previously studied the Rainbow Bridge Phase 2 work, and like that, not even just with me, if you've completed Rainbow Bridge Phase 1 properly, that is the qualifying criteria for joining one of my Phase 2 classes. You must have properly completed Rainbow Bridge Phase 1 to join my Rainbow Bridge Phase 2 classes. So that is the entry criteria. And of course, if you're unsure, you can always contact me and I can help assess whether you are at a point where you can join the phase 2 classes because it's very important the central channel is nice, wide and clear to properly undertake phase 2 work. And that is talked about in detail as part of phase 2 as well, describing how that's only one of the key ingredients that makes the phase 2 work so well, making sure that you've completed phase 1 and you've got a nice, wide, clear central channel. That's discussed in detail as part of the workshop. So to also be clear, you're not just doing a workshop with me where I'm just going through the steps of the 2 phase 2 techniques. You're going to be taught practical application. I give information about external patterns in particular, because the Rainbow Bridge phase 2 techniques, that's what they're for, are for clearing up any remaining external patterns and complexes that remain. In other words, imbalanced karma. And sometimes that karma can be very stuck. This is a flawless technique for clearing up any remaining external patterns or complexes. And if you do start with the Rainbow Bridge phase 2 alternative disc method, as I call it, that does also start to work on the internal as well. Just a little bit about the more spiritual side of the classes. The Rainbow Bridge phase 2 original line form clearing method is a first ray technique, meaning a red ray, a divine will technique because of its conditioning impact on the vehicles. The Rainbow Bridge phase 2 line form clearing is a very safe and direct methodology for very accurately pinpointing and breaking down any remaining external patterning. And I always know when I am clairvoyantly viewing a student who is favoring the Rainbow Bridge phase 2 original line form clearing, because they look like they have chunks of external patterning missing, meaning resolved, dissolved. So it's a first ray technique because it's very safe and healthy, but very direct. It amazes people with how directly this gets at deeper knots that other techniques don't clear or can't clear for a myriad of different reasons. And like that, as part of the class, I talk at length about what makes the Rainbow Bridge phase 2 techniques so flawless and what makes them work in place of other methodologies that don't, because there's a lot of flawed methodologies out there that claim to clear imbalanced karma, and they don't describe how or where properly, and it doesn't clear all of it. It might clear little bits of it or chunks here and there, but not all of it. So if you are looking for a methodology that safely and healthily and flawlessly will clear all external and internal imbalanced karma, well, that is the Rainbow Bridge phase 2 techniques. But like I was saying, you must have completed Rainbow Bridge phase 1 properly first. The other methodology that I teach as part of the phase 2 workshops is the Rainbow Bridge alternative phase 2 method. I call it the Rainbow Bridge phase 2 alternative disc method. And it's an alternative method for dissolving internal and external patterning. And it's a second ray technique, meaning conditioning, impact, and quality. The second ray is the indigo ray of love wisdom. And that technique gently fades out the patterns, meaning I always know when I'm clairvoyantly viewing a student who's favoring the alternative phase 2 method, because their patterns look faded out. They start to fade out and break down. And it's also a very good method for getting a little more at the internal patterns as well, because with phase one with phase two line form clearing, the original clearing methodology for phase two that the late Josephine and Norman Stevens developed, it works on the external patterns first, and then when there's no remaining external patterns, it then will automatically start to work on the internal. Whereas the phase two alternative disc method, as I call it, works a little bit quicker on the internal while still gently breaking down the external, but it's very gentle, and it starts to dip diet out of one system and gently breaks it down. And I quite often ask those who are clairsentient and empathic who finished Rainbow Bridge phase one to start with the alternative phase two methodology first, but as well as giving deep teachings around those two methodologies, meaning I'm not just teaching the steps that go into the deep methodology and deep explanations behind it. I also give some information of internal and external patterns and the breaking down process and how that happens and how that manifests, as well as also teaching a technique for building in good karma, as it's sometimes called. But what that more is, when you're working with a proper methodology that properly breaks down external and internal distortions in the auric field and body, it automatically makes your body more receptive to what is commonly called positive imprints. But that's a very watered down word. What that means is your body's become very receptive to positive impression and positive imprints. So I also teach the 12 virtues of the heart, which are qualities and energies for imprinting and building into your auric field to imprint the bodies and build in good energies and thought forms and imprints. And it works beautifully. So I also teach about the 12 virtues of the heart and give a short but very effective meditation for how to build those 12 virtues into your own body and being as you clear the vehicles, meaning I don't like people coming away from my phase two workshops just purely focusing on where the internal and external patterns are that need to break down. You know, those will keep breaking down as you properly follow the steps you've been given. And then what's really good to focus on is, okay, what can I now do with my good self as I clear my vehicles? What goodness can I now absorb better? What good imprints and thought forms can I now absorb better and hold without those distortions in my auric field? So this is where I also like to remind people that when you study the Rainbow Bridge phase two techniques with me, it gets to a point where you don't even need affirmations, because without the wound, you then don't need the affirmation. So quite often Rainbow Bridge phase two people find that they don't need much to kind of nudge things in a positive direction, not meaning, you know, you still don't have difficulties to work through every so often or off days to work through every so often. But you're not going to need a book on affirmations, because that's the paradox. Sometimes people are only feeling a need to work with and experiment with affirmations because of a wound they're aware of in some way. So ergo, when the wound's not there, the need leaves as well for the affirmation. And the other reason I teach the Rainbow Bridge phase two techniques, and we discuss this in detail, is when there is a wound, it counteracts the affirmation sometimes. Meaning, I give this as an example quite often, where if someone's trying to work through financial difficulties, if those financial difficulties are a part of a deeper complex and wound. Now, of course, I'd be advising that you seek out some help with finances or get some help with finances if that's something you need. But if the wound around finances is a part of a deeper complex, meaning it would be around the lower hip area, either internally, externally, or both. If it is a part of a wound and you're doing an affirmation around money, it doesn't quite get in. All it does is it aggravates where the wound and the pattern is. And it releases all of the emotional and mental stress and images around those wounds around finances, meaning I'll never forget, there's an amazing book called The Deeper Secret by a woman, and I always forget how to pronounce her good name properly. Anna Maria Postma, I believe, but please don't quote me on that. But the name of the book is The Deeper Secret. And she talks about this, where she quite often had people coming to her who had read the book, The Secret. By the way, I can't stand that book. It is fluff, nonsense, half-hashed teachings. I can't stand it. But anyway, she would have people coming to her going, I did The Secret, but got the opposite. And she's there in her workshops and her lectures trying to explain, look, you hadn't healed the underlying wound. That's why you got the opposite. You did The Secret, which is affirmation fluff. And all it did was aggravate where you had a wound. Ergo, that's why you got the opposite of what you were trying to affirm. You haven't dealt with the underlying wound. So if you're hearing this going, oh, Chloe, that sounds like magic. Oh my goodness. If you've completed Rainbow Bridge Phase 1, even though the first Phase 2 class is soon, on the 13th of August, I believe, I'm going to put all the details in a link with this video. Please feel free to join. You can do it as a correspondence class. If you can't join us in real time on Zoom for the class, it is a group workshop. Or like that, if you haven't done the Rainbow Bridge techniques and you're listening going, oh my goodness, Chloe, I want to do Rainbow Bridge Phase 1 so I can start doing Phase 2. You've hit the nail on the head with something that I've been trying to work through or been aware of. And I've been looking for the pathway you're talking about, where it's a methodology for getting at the deeper wound rather than potentially exacerbating it with an affirmation that's not really going to help me. I do have a Rainbow Bridge Phase 1 workshop coming up as well. So please contact me about that, because I think I've only got about 3 places left at my online Rainbow Bridge Phase 1 workshop. So whether it's about signing up for my upcoming Rainbow Bridge Phase 2 workshop or Rainbow Bridge Phase 1 workshop, please contact me through my website, www.chloefolan.com. The links are on the blog section of my website. It's in the workshop section of my website as well. Please check my social media. But please feel free to contact me about either workshop or any questions in general that you might have. I believe that that is all the information that I wish to share in this video. So on that note, I hope this message reaches the right people and the people that this is for. And I hope if you've just been watching in general, that you found the video insightful and that it's given some good food for thought. On that note, rainbow blessings to all.